This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to 5 Continents in 50 Minutes, a podcast series based on the continents of the world as symbolised in the 5 Olympic rings. I'm that blind woman, Julie Woods, and alongside me is my husband and artist, Ron Esplin. Hello, Ron.
Kia ora.
Oh, kia ora. And together we are going to cover the facts, figures and favourites of the continents in 5 10-minute podcasts. This is podcast 5 of 5, Ron. We got to the last continent, and continent 5 is Oceania. What is the illustration you have painted for this continent, please?
One of the most amazing sights around the world, Uluru, or Ayers Rock, as it was known in English, but Uluru is the way we like to say it. And it's quite an amazing place in the world. And I thought I'd put you and I, Julie, into the picture, and I thought I just couldn't do it in a subtle way unless I had 2 shadows, just you and I.
Nice. That's lovely. What can you tell us about Oceania, Ron?
Well, it's the smallest continent by population with 43 million people. It has a low population with unique ecosystems with a wide range of cultures, populations and languages. 14 countries with numerous island nations are spread across the Pacific. The largest country is Australia, and it's not only the largest by area, it is also the largest by population with 27.2 million people. The amazing sights, of course, Sydney Opera House, Uluru, which we've spoken about, Great Barrier Reef, Milford Sound in New Zealand, we get mentioned. And, of course, one of the most photographed places in the world, the Dunedin railway station right here in Dunedin.
We had to include it. What are the countries that you visited in Oceania?
Well, Sydney in Australia, of course, Melbourne in Australia, Auckland in New Zealand, Apia in Samoa, and Honolulu in Hawaii, which is geographically in Oceania, but administered by the Americans.
Yeah, another strange quirk of fate. What is your favourite?
Australia really is my favourite. You realise we are Kiwis and we are New Zealanders, so we're thinking about another favourite.
Of course.
Australia does offer a lot of variety, range of weathers, wet weather, dry weather, cold weather, hot weather, and lots of interesting natural, and including Tasmania, of course.
I'm going to go Vanuatu because it was quite varied and built up, not built up, and Raru Cascades was one of my favourite places that I went to, which is a waterfall that had a swimming kind of pool or place at the bottom, and it was quite beautiful. The combination of the English and the French who went there as well, it just has resulted in an interesting culture and a beautiful people, of course. What was your best meal that you've had in Oceania?
Well, I think, of course, the wonderful sort of indigenous food throughout the area, and fruit, of course, to die for over and over again. I'm allowed to say the best drink, though, aren't I?
You haven't told us your best meal.
Oh, I'm just talking about the fruit.
You were going to tell us about Paddle's restaurant.
Of course I can't. I'm nearly going to forget that. But I can't forget that because it was your 60th birthday, Julie.
My 50th, Ron.
Really?
Yes.
You look so young.
That's why. I was.
And it was in a restaurant called Paddle's in Samoa, right on the waterfront, overlooking the beautiful Catholic cathedral across the water. What a beautiful spot. They even they baked a cake for your birthday, Julie. They were wonderful. It was
a very special moment.
Hosts.
And another special meal was at Doyle's restaurant in Watson's Bay on Sydney Harbour, which is I call it a fish and chip shop restaurant, which is terribly unkind to Doyle's, but a very posh fish and chip restaurant. And you sit out on the harbour side with your feet on the, well, I'm going to call it sand. Would it be sand?
Yes.
And they had tablecloths on the tables and, fancy cutlery. And it was just beautiful to the setting as much as the meal, but it was all lovely. And, of course, we went to Sydney on our honeymoon, so that made it very special. What about your worst meal in Oceania, Ron?
Well, I can say lap in Vanuatu. I'll leave you to describe that.
Well, I think you can, because I think it was my worst meal as well. We went to a market and they were talking about lap, and I'm always keen to try something indigenous or local, and it had fish and cassava, and I was thinking cassava chips, like you get on the aeroplane, but it was like this cold porridge that had fish on the top, and I was like, oh my goodness, okay, well, we've experienced it. It can be a challenge sometimes. What do you think Oceania's best kept secret is?
Well, I do remember quite a number of magic moments, I must say. But the magic moment I remember best is overlooking the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and I'd snuck a few bits and pieces into my bag, and we sat on a public seat looking out over the harbour and the bridge, and I pulled out a little bottle of champagne and a couple of glasses, and we toasted Sydney from Sydney.
Lovely. I'm going to put that as your best drink then.
Thank you.
Even though you nominated Emerson's Pilsner.
I did.
But that's more beer, so...
Well, we were in New Zealand then, of course.
Quite right. My best kept secret, I think, for Oceania is Uluru. And I know people might not think of it as a secret, but I think it's not as visited as much as it could be. And it's such a magical, spiritual place and sacred place. And it's a bit like going to Africa, but it's much closer to home. They have camel walks, and you can walk around the rock, and many tours and drinks at night and breakfast in the morning, and just an absolutely fabulous place to go, and, part of our heritage as well. My best drink is coconut milk, drinking it out of the shell in Apia. Got any scary moments in Oceania?
No, not scary moments, really. The camels are very benign and very friendly. And I didn't feel anything. In fact, I was in awe of the 70-odd thousand years that Australia has been inhabited by the Aboriginals. And we've got to be in awe of Aboriginals and the history with which they have been able to survive for all those years in a very, very difficult climate.
Well, they're the superheroes of Indigenous people. That's, being able to survive there, as you say, is quite an amazing thing. My magic moment in Oceania was that 50th birthday for me in Apia, Samoa, and just really want to reflect on the continents, Ron. For me, not being able to see a map, having the continents helps me make sense of the world and put things in places that helps me understand. So thank you for coming on this adventure with me and exploring the 5 continents in 50 minutes.
And thank you for directing me so competently.
You've been listening to 5 Continents in 50 Minutes with that blind woman, Julie Woods, and Ron Esplin. If you'd like to contact me, that's Julie. You can do so, julie@thatblindwoman.co.nz. And for Ron esplinartist@gmail.com. This is podcast 5 of 5, and we've reached the very end, and we're going to have to say goodbye. So shall we say, mā te wā?
Hooray, mate.
Mā te wā. I'm that blind woman, Julie Woods, proud sponsor of Around the World in 80 Minutes. After going blind in 1997, I said why not so many times. I am now a professional speaker, author, advocate and coach. If you're looking for someone to help you or your team turn your no into why not, then why not send me an email to julie@thatblindwoman.co.nz or phone or call me on 021 913 513. Why not?
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.